All right, here we go.
Yep. Exactly.
All right. So Frank, what were you doing, man? You were out and about the last couple of days running around.
So yesterday, or the day before yesterday, we took John. Are you familiar with the Port Jeff Ferry
Oh
to
yeah,
Connecticut?
of course,
So
absolutely.
as long as I lived, Zach, in Long Island, I've never put the car on the ferry.
Right.
And so I was with Jose. So Jose drove, and it was $100. It's $75 to drive the car on there with one
Are you
passenger.
kidding me?
Wow.
And then $23 for a second passenger. I was gonna hide in the trunk.
Good Lord.
It was like $10 when I was a kid. The whole car full of everybody.
And they have a
Yeah.
bar on there, and they have
Yeah.
food and whatever. But so I Sepe Nutrition signed with Celtic Marketing, and
Yeah.
basically I had this. We sat in a room we had dinner, cocktail hour the night before, but we sat in a like a ballroom where there's about 15 brands, and all branches of the company meet with you individually for like 20 minutes, and then they go next, and they see if there's a fit for your product in their territory.
Okay.
So where we're at, college campuses, military, small chains, independent brokers, like specialty stores, wherever it may be. And then obviously discuss bigger chains and promos and stuff like that. But it went
Right.
extremely well. So yeah, it went really well. And then we missed the ferry on the way out, and I drove 4 hours home from Connecticut.
Oh God.
Oh man.
Well,
That's-
So I took,
here's an uplifting story about the ferry. So
Yeah.
if you were looking on the Long Island side, looking towards Connecticut, all right,
yeah.
on the right, there's this huge sand hill. It's a giant hill made out of sand. Are you familiar with that view?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
I don't
When
think
we were
I am.
kids, we used to go to the wherever we found them. I don't know how the big boxes that like refrigerators would come in, or washers and dryers. The big cardboard boxes, and cut them up and make like a sled out of it. Then we would drag them over there to that sand hill and walk up that hill, which took like an hour because it's deep sand. And you get all the way at the top, and you sit in these little pieces of cardboard, and you pull the front up like a toboggan, and you slide all the way down the sand hill to the bottom.
I love that. You know what? It's funny when you ever like you ride waves at Jones Beach. Like you go and ride
Right.
waves, you body surf, right?
Body
Yeah.
So when you're,
right.
it's awesome. So you obviously, people don't know, you run into the water, you wait for a wave to break, you get under it, and if it's strong enough, it'll turn you around about 35 times, and you'll gasp for air.
Yeah.
So I remember when I first got divorced, I took my son to the beach, and I was showing him how to ride waves, and he comes out of the water after getting knocked out by like a giant
Oh
8-foot
man.
wave. He's got like, shells, everything's attached to his face. He's all cut up from the rocks. And when you're a kid, it's like, oh, that's normal. Let's get back in. But when you return them, it's scratched up. It's all scratched up. Make it stop at CVS for Bassett Tracing.
Oh,
How was
God.
the beach? It was awesome.
Great.
But us, we didn't care back then. We were all always scratched. You always picking your scab off your knee, right?
Yep.
Like,
Mhm.
yeah.
Mhm.
We always would pass Jones Beach and go to Toe Bay because we thought the waves were better. Yeah.
The girls were too.
I think I was too young to pay attention
All
to
the
that.
all the Nassau Community
College
College girls which I went to, Nassau Community College, right? So they were like, that's like 13th grade. You know what I'm saying? Like, not really. And everybody's like, you would know if it was like 90 degrees out. Everybody was going to be absent that day, as opposed to everybody studying in the parking lot for Hofstra. It was across the road.
My father went to Hofstra. Wow.
Yeah, my nephew's the captain of the baseball team.
No kidding.
Oh, nice.
Long Island was a great place to grow up. I got to tell you. I don't know about you, Frankie,
Was.
but I thought so.
Yeah.
I thought it was a really great place to grow up. We had
Yeah.
everything. You go to Dick's Hills and go skiing. You could go to Tobay, Jones Beach, or if you wanted to calm water, you go on the North Shore where the ferry is. You go to Sunken Meadow. I mean, there was just so much to do, and it was all clean and nice and friendly.
Oh,
And
I grew up
I
in
love.
Queens. I grew
I
up
was
in
born in
Queens,
Queens.
bitch.
Yeah,
We went to
man. I
Far
was born in
Rockaway.
Flushing Hospital, and then we moved to Woodbury. I grew up in Woodbury.
Oh yeah, Woodbury. Wait, it's tough to live in Woodbury. Everybody's got 2 cars, an in-ground pool. We had to struggle, baby.
It was rough. It was rough, man.
The
When I
struggle in
lived there, it was
Woodbury.
wilderness.
My mom had to wait for my dad to come home to use the second car because the car was broke.
Dude.
One night, my mom made me eat leftovers.
Oh man, that's the worst. That's just
Wow.
the trauma.
Meanwhile, like in Batman. Meanwhile, in
Yeah.
Queens, I'm sitting with my dad on the front step, and he's watering our 2x2 grass with the hose. And all of a sudden, there's a cop chasing a drug dealer down the block. My dad drops the hose because my dad was a narcotics detective, and my dad was built like a brick shithouse. At like 5'9", 180. They used to call him Tom the Arm. And he chased this guy. And the hose is straight up shooting water in the air. And I'm watching my dad. And my dad just jumps and tackles and smashes this guy in the back, flips him over, like
Jesus.
holds his hands there. And you see this big fat cop behind him. And my dad's waiting for him, like, and he's like, thanks for your help, and my dad's like, yeah, no problem or whatever. But this cops weren't out of shape back then. This cop was a big dude. Like, he was like, a big Italian guy. He was like probably like 300 pounds.
Oh, God.
But it was funny.
So
That's the
Corky
kind of
has a
cop
question.
you
He
want.
says, "How come they never built a bridge from Connecticut to Long Island?"
Too far.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
Too long. What's it, like 20 miles?
How come we don't have the super train to
Yeah.
Long Island to Manhattan yet? That's another question.
I just
How
want a
come we don't have a bridge
teleportation,
from
dude.
Russia to Alaska?
Well, I just want to teleport. Like, I'm holding out for that, man. I feel like we got to be close, right?
I think so. I mean, like Star Trek. Remember what
Yeah, exactly. Or Spaceballs, where the guy goes in, he comes out, and his ass is backward, or head's backwards, or something like.
That'll be the first trial. Right? You come out.
I'd go like 100th. I'd be like, let's get some of the bugs out first, and then I'll jump in and teleport. But I don't know, Corky, and I still don't know why I can't reply to you on Twitter. I keep saying I'm gonna look into it. And I've lied. Yes. Yeah. Actually, John and I yesterday were hammering out some things. It was really fun. I was doing all the work, and John was looking at his phone, and
I was there for moral support.
Did you prove a revenue base on that?
I didn't. I that's the thing. We've so far generated $0.0 in income.
Well,
so.
actually, the correct answer to that is try generating revenue without it.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh.
See? Ooh.
Wait, where's the mic? Drop your mic, John. I was listening to some talk radio show just now, and a guy said he's from Long Island, and he was having a meeting with Bleckman.
What?
And that he was a really nice guy. Yeah, I don't know what it was about, but I guess he was a hockey player or something.
Wow.
I caught the tail end. I wonder if that was how many. I mean,
I
there's
just
4 brothers, right?
The biggest mystery to me is why Bleckman would close muscular development without trying to sell it. I mean, he bought it for whatever $1 million from his brothers. I don't know, but why would you just let it expire? I mean, why wouldn't you either try to save it, sell it? I mean, Dan would have told me he would have paid for it. I mean, there's eyeballs there, it's worth something, but I guess he just likes to collect shit,
Yeah.
Ouch.
But how much money does Bleckman have? A ton?
A lot.
Yeah, I'm
So
sure.
it probably just maybe he just didn't want the hassle of going through all that stuff. Who knows?
It's almost like that divorce guy who, like, if I can't have the house, nobody's gonna have the house, and he burns it to the ground.
Exactly. That's exactly nail on the head, Frankie. That's exactly what it is. If I can't have it, nobody can.
Yeah.
It's like,
I know.
Take my ball and go home.
Towards the tail end of print media, um, like we had the custom publication that we had for Metrics, in
Right.
Metrics we had the print publication. We printed 4 million of them, sent them out everywhere, and then obviously it wasn't working, so we did a digital version and we did a smaller run or whatever, and we started collecting emails and we started doing everything like digital. A lot of these companies did not want to do that. They did not
Yeah.
believe that
Hmm.
was. They always looked at digital as extra value. So you
Right.
look at
Yeah.
Muscle Mag, right? Where's their
Mm-hmm.
online presence? If you look at some of these Iron Man, another one. If these people would have started building
Mm-hmm.
some sort of, digital presence while they had the print, if Woody would have went straight to the police, this never would have happened.
Well,
Yeah.
part of the problem was nobody believed that there was going to be a secure way to conduct e-commerce. So
Mhm.
everybody was paranoid about credit card numbers being stolen and
Yeah.
theft and fraud and all of that shit. So they for that reason, I know, at least from a couple of personal experiences, that the CEOs just wouldn't subscribe to the digital element because they were too afraid they couldn't monetize the investment, get ROI on the investment, and because they couldn't securely conduct business
Mm.
online. And obviously that was complete bullshit. And look at how far back some of these companies set themselves by not, heeding the signals or the writing on the wall that print was dying.
Yeah.
Well, it's also too, when we had the digital publication, it had all different like wrestling and
Mhm.
bodybuilding, UFC, everything. Now, when you send it out to all these different people, and obviously it's in the Apple store and everything else, I said, let's build an online store to sell product direct.
Yeah.
Oh, no, no, who's going to buy it? Well,
Yeah.
to the tune of a couple hundred
Oh,
thousand a month, because people are
exactly.
impulse buyers. They read an article, they want it now.
Yeah.
So it was like, but there was a lot of like, him and hawing on all that stuff. And now, how's that working out for everybody
Yeah,
now?
exactly. Yeah, exactly.
But I feel like we're going through that again now, right? So the same thing when
Yeah,
people didn't want to put in the investment to have to turn that over because they were still making money on their print publication, right? Even though they were having like the returns were diminishing, but yeah, it still would you have to invest in your digital property and get that up and running and keep it up. And it was something that a lot of legacy companies didn't want to do. And now that's
Yeah.
exactly what's happening with social media and the way that people consume media and their news has changed drastically over even the last 5-10 years. But still, there's brands that don't want to do it, and that's why I think you're going to start to see these brands just vanish, and you're going to see the popular influencer types kind of come together, create these networks, and that's going to be essentially like the new
Yep.
power brands for however long that lasts, and then somebody else will come in and I don't know. That's my opinion. That's what I think.
The same thing that happened to print is happening to networks
Mm-hmm.
now.
Mm-hmm.
So before, if you were on a network, either news or whatever, and you didn't like the content, you could change the channel and go to another network. The problem is now today all the networks are the same, and the
Yeah.
public is shifting their attention from networks to podcasts because there's
Mhm.
so many more podcasts. You can find one that exactly matches your interest in what you're doing. Common population, you got common ground, and that's why Joe Rogan's got 22 million subscribers and CNN doesn't get 900,000 in prime time. So
It's funny. It's very rare that I'll watch a show on TV or whatever, while not looking on my phone at TikTok videos at the
Yeah.
same time. That's
Yeah.
how my attention, or going on Instagram and
Yeah.
looking through, like, I'll put shows, but they'll be on, like, if it's like, I don't know, City of God or something, and I have to read it, I'll shut it off because I gotta, I gotta put something that's mindless, so that if I miss something because I'm on TikTok, it really doesn't matter. But that's if
right.
you watch kids and teenagers, they're always media
Yeah.
multitasking.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They don't have a you know, especially, you know, I have ADHD, whatever. So, you know, I've never had, I'll never give anything my full attention anyway.
No.
As best
You
I
know,
can.
and if you don't understand it, like a dinosaur like me, I mean, my son comes over, the TV's on, he's watching videos, and we're talking. And not one of those three elements loses any
No.
context. He can't. It's unbelievable. It's like
Yeah.
it's like typing and talking. You know,
Yeah.
it's unbelievable how they can do that. I can't do that. I'm like, I got to do one thing. I'm like either watching TV or I'm on my phone. I can't do both.
I
My
can't do
wife's
one
the
thing.
same way. She's just on the phone,
I can't.
TV.
No,
But
I mean,
No.
look, I can't. Even when I'm
Max
reading
can-
something, like I'm listening to something, so that's why I can
Right.
never like. I have to read something 4 or 5 times to get it.
Lately, I've been shutting off just listening to music on my phone because obviously I handle like 30 media accounts, and it just destroys my whole workout if one thing goes,
Yeah.
you know, awry or something or whatever. So it's like I'm just gonna go train and then deal with what I have to deal with later. So it's, you know, it is what it is, but it's not.
Yep.
Got a Ron Simmons sighting. Damn.
Wow, why is
Damn.
that?
Ron Simmons says, damn.
Yeah, he's in the comments.
right.
All right, there you go.
Saturday. You know what Saturday is?
It's the Long Island NPC Long Island, baby.
Yeah, buddy.
I'm still trying.
We'll be
I'm
there.
still trying to make it. I got to see. I got to check out the kids' schedule. I may not be able. If I can, I want to go. I want to go support Frank and Steve and
Where's
jump
it being
on stage, obviously, and go win.
The Hot Pog High School. Beautiful
Oh,
spot. They
yeah.
put like millions of dollars in their auditorium. It's beautiful. Yeah.
Wow.
It's like 1,400 seats in
Yeah,
there.
some of these new high schools now, or the remodeled ones anyway, they're like college campuses. They just did the
Beautiful.
one up the street here for me in this little podunk town where I live, and man, this new it's like it's beautiful. These roads go through. There's different buildings and sports fields and auditoriums. They got an outside auditorium, an inside auditorium. It's freaking amazing.
It's,
I went to a
you
fucking
know,
box with bars on the windows when I went to school.
you know where my first show was? It was
Where?
in Manhattan at Martha Luther King High School, junior high school.
Wait, so the show the show you
Wow.
promoted or the show that you competed at?
Competed at the
All
Eastern USA. I won the heavyweight in the Eastern USA. I was 20 years old, and I
Wow.
pulled up. 21 years old. I pulled up. It was Martin Luther King Junior High School, and it was not a nice place.
I know.
Just, you know, I don't know if it is now. But you know.
What
No,
what
wait,
part
I'm
of
sorry.
Manhattan
It
was
wasn't.
it?
No, wait. Was it, or was it? No, maybe it was Washington Irving High School.
Ooh,
Washington
even wor-
Irving.
Even worse.
Yeah, it wasn't Martin Luther King High School. It was Washington Irving High School. Yeah. I was like, oh wow, this is crazy. Yeah, you know, things have evolved in 25 years. You know.
John, it's just funny that you mentioned the other day. You mentioned something about rock climbing when we were offline.
Oh.
Frank and I got an invite to go to this new rock climbing gym in Essex County here in Jersey. I haven't scheduled it yet, but I hit him up and said we'd be down to go check it out. I know that's something that you're
man.
into.
Yeah, well, try to go when they have an event because those speed climbing events are incredible. In Hoboken, they have Gravity Vault. I think there's a couple of them throughout Jersey, but Gravity Vault's amazing because they have one of the highest ceilings in any of the rock climbing gyms. I think it's 40 feet. And when they have those events and these guys are sprinting up those walls, it's really, really an incredible, event to watch. And I think for our purposes, we get a couple of those champions climbers on here and do a great podcast with them. The footage that we get from those guys is incredible because athletically, rock climbers are some of the most athletically gifted people on earth. They're really, the good ones are phenomenal. The ability, the strength that they have in their grip, their forearm, their ability to pull. We're talking guys who can do one-arm pull-ups, like numerous ones, so plus on the tips of their fingers, they grab the cracks. It's pretty incredible. So
yeah, I've seen a couple pictures. John showed me some pictures of himself. I mean, he looked like an ant because it was kind of like from far away, but I could tell it was him. The same beanie.
Yep.
Did you get
I had hair.
motivated by Stallone's movie back
I
in
did.
the day? The rock climbing?
Well, actually, I got to tell you, that movie fucked me up big time because the opening scene, when you
Oh,
got
yeah.
that harness on, that's your life.
Yeah.
That's everything is the harness.
Right.
Okay, so you got to like trust the equipment, and it's a really hard thing to do sometimes when you're 1,000 feet up in the air, but. That opening scene in what was it, Cliffhanger, the Stallone
Yeah.
movie?
Yeah, that's it.
The girl is like falling and he's out on the rope and you see the whole harness like coming
Yeah.
apart, the buckle bending and the thing. And I'm like, every time I climbed after that, that's all I thought about was the buckle bending, the strap coming out. I was going to fall and die.
Like 20 years ago, I did a gym tour for ESPN Cold Pizza when I was on it, of Chelsea Piers, and we did rock climbing. So it was me and the Access Hollywood host, Kit Hoover. And we had you basically put those who haven't rock climbed, you basically put this leather diaper on, and it pulls your privates right up into your mouth. And but I got
Yeah.
sounds fun. But
We lost. I lost both of you guys.
Me? I'm here.
No, you're there, Frank.
I'm just stiff. I just look like I'm.
You were just look stiff.
I just look like a statue.
Prior to the harnesses the diaper that Frankie's talking about, we used to use what was called the Swami belt, which didn't have the leg straps. It just went around your waist.
Yeah.
And when you took a ripper on one of those and you fell, there was no equilibrium. You were dangling by the knot in your waist, and you were always upside down, sideways, half turned around. It was awful. But then the diapers came in, the sling harnesses, and they were way better.
We have multiple guests for the next couple of shows. I reached out, Zach. You saw the emails, right? To Rick Flair.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, so I reached out for this show and then for Fit Seekers. So we have a ton of people, which is now we have to schedule around the holiday too. So
oh yeah.
But we have a multitude of different people that are coming on. So I don't know. Instead of having somebody on for an hour, do you think we should have somebody on for a half hour, then another half hour?
Yeah, it depends on who they are and how it's going. I mean, if some guys, sometimes
you can't do that. You can't book two people in the same
show.
No,
we'd have to put them on separate days.
No,
Rick, I would love to get Rick Flair would be great because he lives here by me. He's got this. He's on the lake. He's got biggest boat, the biggest speedboat on Lake Murray, the big, huge red metal flake speedboat, and the most out of place looking house in the entire state because he's got like Darth Vader's office, and everybody else is Southern architecture, and his house stands out, looks like an office building.
And then when the PR people come on this show and start seeing all the different steroids and ass and everything else, they're say no, that's going to go on Fit Seekers. But we have a ton of bodybuilders. We have a ton of other people. Yeah.
Yeah, there's people I got to reach out to too. We're going to follow up with as well, just for in general. Honestly, what happens is, and I send this stuff out. I start to correspond, and then I start to get swallowed up with something else.
Same here.
Yeah, and it's so not on purpose. I wish I could get that across that it's not nothing personal, but I don't know. Maybe I just need a better system.
It's a lot of juggling.
Yeah, maybe
it's a lot of juggling, man. Honestly. It is a lot of moving parts to everything that we're doing. But here's a nutritional question for you, John. So yesterday, I had to hold my tongue. So there was a guy, and he's like, "Oh, I want to try your bar. What kind of sweetener does it have in it?" I go, "Well, it has stevia, monk fruit, and allulose." I said, "But it's very little of each. There's only 2 grams of sugar in the whole bar." Right? "Oh, I can't eat stevia." Meanwhile, the guy's stomach, he probably had a 48-inch waist. His last problem was stevia, right? So he ate the stevia bar, whatever, and he goes, "Oh, I can't taste it." He's like, "Am I gonna feel bloated later?" And I'm like, "As opposed to what?"
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
how do you feel right now?
It's a blend, and then I was like,
"Are we using now as a baseline?"
I know.
So then the guy goes, it's good, but it doesn't satisfy me." And I said,
"Have 9 of them."
I said, excuse me? I said, what? I go, riddle me this, Batman. I said, do you open up a bag of potato chips and eat one? I go, if you're at a cookout and somebody hands you a hamburger and you eat one hamburger, do you go for a second if you're hungry? I'm like, this isn't the end all be all solve all your problem bar. It's a friggin' treat. It's snack. You know what I'm saying?
As in the title.
It's not gonna satiate your whole life. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, but it's so ridiculous.
That
But
falls into the that right there, Frankie. That falls into the category when you talk. The guys are talking about working out, or they're your client. They go, "Well, I don't want to look like Arnold." You know, trust me, you got a long way to go.
Don't worry about it.
You
Yeah.
look like,
Don't even worry about
pull back anytime. You know.
Yeah, I was going to ask you that, Frank. Was like, what were some of the reactions you had? Because look, anytime you're in,
the protein treat.
yeah, but because look, I'm sure the majority was good, right? But there's always going to be people that, if it doesn't fit with what they're looking for or their audience or whatever, their customer base, then they're just going to find ways to pick it apart. Like this guy, like I'm not satisfied. Well, dude, again, I use it as, for me, I'm eating them as a treat, something when I'm on the go, something when I just need something. Like it's not replacing a four course meal here, but I'm guessing a lot of it was really positive, right? So was there any that were like on the fence, or that you felt that you either had to push back on, or even that you learned from, because that's a way that you can, refine your pitch?
It was interesting, like, because there were people, and then there were other people too who were there that I just gave extra treats to, who weren't part of the program,
Okay.
So, and it's, I think people are so brainwashed on previous bars that they had, that tasted like shit. So they're like waiting for something bad. So they'll hear about them, but it's different from when they're tasting them. So when they tasted it, they were like, wow, this is really good. This tastes just like, a marshmallow Rice Krispie treat or whatever. It's like, this is really good. And they're like, I'm waiting for it. And I'm like, what? It's like the aftertaste. They're like, there is none. And I'm like, no, there is none.
Yeah.
So I would say everybody that we did meet, they loved it. The one guy that I just told you about,
yeah,
I gave, that was a guy sitting in the lobby. And then he came up to me. He saw me in the booth. I just gave him one for free, and he decided to chew my ear off on that. But no, I was really happy, like,
good.
because the sign is when they eat the whole thing right in front of you.
Yeah.
If they didn't like it, they wouldn't eat it.
They would just take a bite out.
Then you had people like, oh, can I take one? And then they take 4. I'm like,
yeah.
I look at Jose. I'm like, in horror.
Yeah, it's not like an unlimited supply. Yeah,
Juan Morel's cookies backstage at the Olympia.
People looting those.
Yep.
But they were like, I got some good feedback on some other flavors that we're selling in that area, specific area, especially in the colleges, because I'm really going to go hard in the college campuses and stuff. So there was a couple of flavors that I was like, oh, that's interesting. So we put into works, and there was a couple of call outs that were important for some of their book of business that we had, keto and stuff that we need to make bigger and bolder, and with sugars and no sugar alcohols and stuff like that. So there were a lot of great suggestions. I'm always somebody who takes feedback if it's common, if it's it makes sense.
Actual feedback.
Right. When someone tells me it doesn't satiate me, or I'm not satisfied, I'm like, what do you want me to do?
Listen, it's funny. I know that, just so you know, John, I heard that Frank and Jose are actually, you remember 21 Jump Street, whatever, when they went back, and that's what they're going to do in the college campuses. They're going to infiltrate the college campuses that way and just start to pass it around.
Well, not for nothing, but at the Olympia, it was a great comparative study on Frankie's treats versus the rest of the bars that were given out as samples. And I did this on purpose. Well, there was one right next to us, and I was starving, so that was kind of. But there were other ones too.
Right.
The difference between Frankie's protein treat and those other bars is immediately when you put one of those other bars in your mouth, the first thing you taste is the chemicals.
Yes.
There's a definite chemical a common
Mhm.
chemical taste to all of those products except Frankie's. You do not get that chemical taste in your bar, in your treat. I'm being very careful not to call it a bar, but there is no chemical taste, and that is, to me, that's a giant game changer because I hate that taste.
Yeah,
It
me too.
reminds me of going on a tour in a vitamin factory. You get that taste. This is awful.
I was
Yeah.
like, everything was like, oh, you think it would be good for hospital? Yeah, of course. Like, I was like, it's good for anything.
Mhm.
I was like, we were talking about dog treats, and I was like, Jose, what if we took the wrapper off and we put a dog on it, like canine Sepe protein treats? We had the distribution, but no,
We
it
were-
was definitely good. It was funny. When I got home and this morning when I went to the gym, this girl came up to me. She's like, I'm getting ready for my first bikini show. I said, oh, that's cool. Congratulations. She's like, yeah, always want to do bikini show. She's like, I started looking online, and I said, she's like, yeah, I figure I'll do my first show in April, the Mets. She goes, I'll turn pro at the Universe, and then I'll win. I think there was a California show, and then I'll do the Olympia. She's like, 4 shows, right? And I'm like, what?
Wait. Did she have a gallon jug of water in her hand?
Bro, she had Crystal Light or pre-workout. It
boy.
was yellow of some sort. Unless she's into uropathy. I don't know. It was it was definitely yellow. And you had the pants with the socks over the. Now it's the new thing. If you're older, you wear the small socks now. Now, if you're younger, you wear the tights, and then you pull the socks over the tights, and then you wear the chunky New Balance sneakers. So
Oh,
that's how you
man.
tell the difference between somebody 40 and over, is that they wear the no-show socks. I watch this on TikTok. That's where I get all my information.
Right.
And I said, what? How long is your prep? She's like, I'm going to start my prep right after, I'm going to do a transition into December and the holidays, and then start January. So that's a good plan because it gives you a long time. And I go, I said, what did I say? She's like, yeah, but she's like, I'm not doing a natural show. She's like, I'm going to do the Mets. And I was like, I didn't ask, but okay, like whatever. I'm like, all right, and I
Did you ask
almost
me for
went there, but
drugs
I didn't.
next?
Yeah, I didn't care enough to ask, like, like what were you doing? But I was just curious what you would do, if you were a bikini competitor for your first show, and you were doing some sort of show prep or something. Like, what would it be, John?
You roboted out on that last sentence. What
He's
did you say?
saying
Say that
he's
again.
saying if you were going to do a first bikini show, like what would your prep be like if you were kind of
Oh,
going into this, as a
well, you
true
got to
novice?
get a gallon jug of water. That's number one.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
got to do that. All bikini girls need to carry around a gallon jug of water.
Must be
I
with
mean,
you at
that's
all
very important.
times.
And what I really love, this is my favorite part about bikini, is you get a girl who's never been to the gym in her life. Okay, so now all of a sudden somebody blew enough sunshine up her ass to say, I'm going to do bikini. And she hires a trainer and she's got the gallon jug of water. Don't forget that. And she hires a trainer. And after about 4 weeks, she's posting on TikTok or Instagram, countdown to, whatever show. And, and then the last line is PM me for diet plans available.
Oh boy.
It's honestly, that's everybody, man. It's even bodybuilders too. They got the giant jugs. It's like, it's interesting. Like when we did a show, Zach, it was like I started lifting at 13. I didn't do my first show till I'm 21. 8 years.
Right.
Squats, deadlifts, bench, squats, deadlifts, bench,
Right.
squats, curls. This,
Right.
like this, prep, get it ready. Like now it's like, okay, PEDs. I'm
Yeah.
starting a gym. Can I sign up? PEDs,
Hmm.
cable work, and a jug of water.
Yeah. Exactly.
What you just said though about the squats, deadlifts, the
Yeah.
basic stuff, right? I love
Yeah.
when I see this in my gym all the time. There's girls training there that are absolutely brand new. They have no muscle mass whatsoever, or they're really fat. And they do these bizarre exercises. Yesterday, there was this girl with this giant ass, and she's standing on a 10-pound plate, which is this big. So she's got both feet on the 10-pound plate, and she's got another 10-pound plate out in front of her, and she's doing air squats, standing on top of a 10-pound plate with a 10-pound plate in front of her. And I'm saying to myself, what the fuck is this girl doing? Just go do squats. I mean, basic.
Look,
all the time you get these new people, they come into contact with some fucked up trainer, and the trainer's got him doing all of this weird shit so that he can make a point of difference and attract other clientele. So
I feel bad for all these competitors, all newbies who go in the gym for the first time, who have the I don't know what you call it, but to meet up with these trainers who do not know a thing, because they get discouraged after a couple of weeks because they're not making any gains, because they're not doing the right thing. So whether they're overweight, too skinny, want to pack on size, they're going into these giant gym chains, and these people are not qualified. A lot of these people aren't qualified,
no, they're
or
not.
they just don't care enough to customize a workout program, or they're pulling stuff off of TikTok from influencers or what it may be. Whereas, people back in the day, I don't know what the protocol is now. They had, ISSA trainers or IDEA or a NASCAR, or at least, had a background in something or experience, like, but you're right. There's nothing better than the basics. And
Nothing.
people who are extremely overweight, the biggest misconception is just throw them on and have them do cardio. No, no. You have to have them do weight resistance training, because it causes a synergistic effect on your body, both the weightlifting
Absolutely.
and the cardio, as opposed to doing one. And as you're losing that weight and you have enough substantial amount of protein, you're not going to get that flubber. At least your skin's going to be
Right.
is somewhat tight, as opposed to being a bag of sand by just like sitting on a treadmill, walking on a
Right.
treadmill.
Right.
You
Well,
you got to have that 1 gram of protein per body pound, and start training heavy and resistance training and stuff. Obviously, you got to get a health checkup for your heart and everything, but you work up to it. You maybe do 1 set the first time, then 2 sets, then 3 sets, or whatever it may be. But you don't just go in there and do ridiculous exercise to get you hurt or not get you anywhere, and because it's just discouraging to everybody.
It's got to be, because they put the effort in, right? I mean,
Yeah.
they're committed, they're serious. But when you see a neophyte doing something that barely even an expert, how many top pro anybody's bodybuilder, fitness figure, whatever, how many of them have you ever seen standing on a 10-pound plate doing air squats with a 10-pound plate in front of them? It almost never happens. The only time you ever see crazy shit like that is the brand new people with the trainer, that the trainer's got them doing crazy shit because they want to look different. And anybody that gets their, develops their chops in the gym and they know what they're doing after a couple of years, they never do that shit. Ever. Never.
So, first of all, like, I've heard of people standing on plates to deadlift or to do calf raises, but why, in this case, stand on a plate to do squats?
You got me, man. I have no idea. These trainers, I don't know. They must wake up in the middle of the night and think of this shit and write it down. And then, Bosu balls are the fucking bane of my existence in the gym, because they're always using those things for the weirdest shit. And it's always the neophytes. It's never, ever, ever a seasoned pro, a seasoned lifter. They never do that shit. Ever.
I think it's if you're on a plate, right, and if it's slanted, obviously, okay, so your quads are forward. It's almost like a wall sit. Maybe it's like a wall sit if she's into a squat, where she's putting a 10-pound plate out. Because think about it, if you
Is she
slide on
just
the
holding
wall,
it the whole? Is she just
holding it out here.
yeah,
The
it's
thing is,
tension.
when you stand on a plate, usually it's two small plates and they're under your heels,
Right,
because you want to.
Yeah.
Can't. She's got her whole foot
Right.
half. Well, a 10-pound plate is this big. How big? Her feet are hanging over the side. So she's standing, I guess it's for balance, but the 10-pound plate in front of like a steering wheel, up and down, up, and it's really serious, straight up and down. And I'm like, what the fuck are you doing?
John, is your picture in all these gyms in Florida that you're not allowed, like with a circle with like a Ghostbusters in your face? This guy, he's not allowed. He's not allowed in the gym. He's going around. He's like, listen, lady, if you're not doing the basics, you're not doing anything.
I keep my mouth shut, man. I don't say anything anymore.
Me too.
I learned my lesson the hard. I don't say
this morning,
shit.
I did legs, right? And I'm watching this dude, man, and he's doing like he's got 405 on the bar, right? And he's got to be, I don't know, about 150 pounds. And I'm like, what is this guy gonna do? Like, I was ready to watch, and if he did a 3-inch squat, I'd be surprised. He took the rack off. His legs were like, shaking, and he went three reps. He probably went about that high, and not even joking. He had wraps, he had belt. I mean, I was like Ronnie Coleman getting ready to do the 800-pound squat, and I'm like, who told him that was a good idea, man? If he could do 185 parallel for 6, I would be shocked. But that's why put 405 on. What's the rush? What's the I don't know.
Bragging rights. The guy can say he can squat 405. I mean, that's what it comes down to,
All right, I got an update. So Frank saw you when you saw Steve Blackman today. This is from Arnold from the comments, and the comments are always right, but I think he might have. He said, first of all, he said John should buy it, and I said, of course, yeah, John, you should go buy it.
Columbo and I asked him. We put it out there. We didn't get a single response.
But now he's in talks with a guy from India, Sahil Khan. So that guy might buy it. Okay, is that who he's on with today talking? Or do you know him?
No. But Salil Khan, if that's the right one, Salil Khan's the biggest influencer in India. I met him at the Olympia a couple of years ago. Nice guy. He's got a multitude of products in India and stuff, and he was really cool. He was nice to like. Really, cool. He's like, when I was growing up, he's like, all the magazines, that's all we had in India. They were all Muscle Mag. I was like, oh, that's funny. He's like, you were always on this, and we were talking. Nice guy, but he's got like, I think he's got 10 or 11 million followers, maybe even more now. I think he was the first Indian company, first company from India to sponsor the Olympia or something of that notion. I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that. But yeah, he's a built guy. If you go on his Instagram, it's really cool. He's got a lot of pretty women on there. He's got a lot of products. He's got a lot of workout. He's like an influencer in India.
Nice. Well,
a mega influencer.
Arnold confirms, says he's a good dude. And look, I would still rather John buy it, but whatever.
We tried. I mean,
what would John do with muscular development?
Yeah, let's talk about that.
What would be the premise, the tagline? What would more muscle, real muscle? What are we talking about?
To hell and back.
Hell and back.
Build muscle, burn fat, be healthy. That's it.
So would you go mainstream? Are you going drug wars of 2025? Or are you going mainstream muscle?
No, drugs.
Because natural muscle didn't work.
No, it didn't. We almost went out of business. Drugs.
I was on the cover cover 10 times of all natural muscle development.
We had one of those blown up. It was in the office. One of the covers. You had you were lifting your shirt.
Yeah.
Up, It was like every day I went there's Frankie on the wall lifting his shirt.
Look at that asshole. What would you do?
Yeah. Like, first thing I would do is burn all the paper. Number one, I would burn it. No more paper. And any shape, form, no paper. All digital.
That's got to be the number one for anybody, dude.
Yeah, but there's some
it's a given. Where's this paper? Where's the paper that you're buying? Is there paper in there? Like, where is this?
Some people just don't get the fact that your paper's dead. Print is dead. It is so dead that there's no way to revive it.
As a doornail.
Yes.
Yep.
It's dead.
So I mean, then digital is where it's at. So I would do mainstream, not mainstream, but multiple sports, kind of like what we're trying to do, and definitely keep the hardcore drugs training, and some nutrition too. Dispel a lot of rumors, cover studies. Great study just came out actually on dispelling a ton of the bullshit surrounding TRT and testosterone replacement. So,
do you remember where you saw it? Because
it was published in the New England Journal of Medicine, which is a pretty prestigious journal, and they showed that, and they did. There was several studies in a row that were. There was one in JAMA too, which these are prestigious journals. The one in JAMA.
You want to JAMA with you?
150,000 men for 15 years. That's one of the biggest. That's one of the biggest studies I think ever done. And cardiac events that everybody says, testosterone is bad for your heart. Nope, they showed no increase in heart.
Oh, nice.
In heart stuff. Prostate. The prostate issue was really interesting because I always knew that this was bullshit. Just keep an eye on your PSA if you're on testosterone and watch your hematocrit. Those are the two things, the big things that you got to do. The prostate only has so many androgen receptors. Once they're saturated, you could take 5,000 milligrams a day of testosterone and you're not going to get any worse effect on your prostate because the androgen receptors are saturated. Once you saturate the androgen receptors, that's it. Your PSA may go up a little bit, but there's...
How small is your nutsack at for 5,000 milligrams?
Sure, I think you're just getting away anyhow.
Who cares? He said.
So, but the only things that they agreed were problematic were in high doses, some aggression, in high doses, some oily skin and acne, and that was about it. There was another one that followed 750 men over 3 years. They showed that versus a control group, that the guys at the end of 3 years had an average increase of 6 pounds of muscle mass and an average loss of 4 pounds of fat.
Without hair.
They didn't cover that, but I'm sure that.
Yeah, exactly.
How did you retain all that information? Are you looking at it now? Because I would have never been able to remember this.
But these are salient issues that I've battled with my whole career. That people, Frankie, everybody.
Of course,
you're going to get a heart attack. Show me the proof.
First of all, I don't believe in double-blind studies, and I only go with studies about rats when it's opposed to supplements.
Only the rats.
This doesn't cause cancer in New York City subway rats. We're good.
They got some big rats down there.
Let's see. So Zach, you're next. I'm gonna pull 3 articles for John's new muscular development. How to shave your back from excess steroid acne. Right? That's number 1.
Beautiful.
Build a massive back with Masterone. How about that?
I'm thinking step by step for the shaving would be good with some very good pictures and videos.
The shaving one better.
And then I'm gonna go with an advertorial here. No nutsack posing trunks.
Yeah.
A little puffer in the front.
Yeah. They got a pad in there, like the bra, like a padded bra. You got a padded banana hammock.
Basically, Frank just gave you 3 blockbuster things to start off with, so there's no way you can fail.
No, but I got to comment on the nutsack. I got to comment on the nutsack size. There needs to be a study of women
women's nutsack sizes.
We got to dispel this rumor. In my experience, women do not like big nutsacks. They don't. So I want the meta-analysis of several studies to prove that women prefer the tight nutsack from taking juice.
You should do a poll.
You can't be all Frank and no beans, bro. You got to have some sort of beans.
I mean, a little bit, but you want them swinging in the wind and waving hello to the jets as they pass by,
John.
Yeah, we got to figure that out. We got to get to the bottom of this. This is
I hope I win.
Ask a girl.
The worst thing that could happen to this entire fitness industry if I win the $494 million lotto. That's all I have to say, because honestly, I don't know what I would do on a daily basis. I would probably buy all these things just to sit and have these editorial meetings every day.
Oh my God. Listen,
I would love it.
listen, Frank cranks out stuff that it's like rapid fire, and man, some of it. And here's the thing: it's supposed to be funny and a cliche, but it's so accurate. Like that's the funny
Yeah.
part about it is, and I
Right.
know because I've been in these meetings too, and I know that there'd be people like, "Oh, dude, that's great. Yeah, the shaving, like, yeah, like, cool. Make sure you get the blood. Let's get. It's like, you know what I mean? It's just too much.
I got a question about test. So if you're running, if you have this was actually, that's a good question. If your testosterone level, say you're 45 years old, your testosterone level 700, your free testosterone is only at 7%, right? It's 7%, and you're running 0.30 of HCG and 100 mgs of test a week for 12 weeks, right? Then you get your blood work back. And you're pretty much, in decent shape, not overly muscular, what have you, but no side effects. At what point do you stop the HCG? Or what point do you stop the test? Or, because the biggest question in TRT is, do I have to do this for the rest of my life?
taking it,
And I
right?
know we've spoken about it. You're going to want to do it, right? But do you have to do it? Do you stop running the test? Do you keep running HCG? What do you
The
do?
biggest mistake people make with TRT or any testosterone use is they take HCG with the testosterone. That's
Mhm.
like
Okay.
that's like putting ice cubes in coffee because you want your coffee hot. I mean, like, what? You don't do that. It's one or the other. So HCG is to get your testosterone production back up after it was suppressed from the negative feedback loop from taking exogenous testosterone. So you
Yeah.
take exogenous testosterone, your brain sends a message to your testes, hold it, we don't need it anymore. Stop sending signals to make more testosterone. We don't need it. HCG turns that back on. So it doesn't do it while you're taking testosterone. It doesn't do it. So you got to stop taking testosterone. When you stop, there's a couple of month adjustment period for your brain to get the message to start sending those messages back to your testes to produce testosterone. So if you take HCG while you're on testosterone, it does absolutely nothing, because
But
the negative feedback loop is going to override it no matter what.
I didn't like your voice for the HCG. It should have like a specific accent or something, I think, right?
HCG.
I don't know if it's a British accent, but the HCG, it's a hello. Yeah, the HCG. But
This is Doubtfire.
HCG.
Because I
But
hate that
doesn't
shit.
the HCG, while taking with testosterone, doesn't it help? Uh, I'm going to use this word, thwart.
Good word.
The effects are stopping the suppression, because your body stops naturally producing testosterone when it obviously you start taking synthetic testosterone. So doesn't the HCG keep the natural production running while you're taking the synthetic, or is that a
Nope.
misconception?
It's a
Really?
misconception. Testosterone is testosterone. If you have a chemical structure with the little, hexagons and the bars
The
and
lines and all, yeah.
chemical
Testosterone.
structure, right? It doesn't matter if you get the testosterone from a dog, a monkey, a snake, a
A rat.
test tube. It doesn't matter. It's testosterone. It's
Yeah.
testosterone. This whole thing with bioavailability and bioidentical, it's all bullshit. Testosterone is testosterone. You can't augment the chemical structure of testosterone to some degree to make it different and still cause it to be, and still have it be testosterone. If you augment the chemical structure, then it's no longer testosterone. It's an ester, it's whatever.
Do you think in 2050 there'll be like a conveyor belt that goes into the gym, and you don't even go through the door, you transport through in?
Oh, you got an alert.
like the Dr. Seuss, like Starbelly Sneech machine.
but but wait, so
And
what does the HCG though? Does it prevent testicular shrinkage? Is that something that what? I'm
Okay.
curious here. Like,
Here's what happens. The
I got bitch
brain
tits from
control.
HCG.
Your brain is sending message. I'm sorry. What did you say, Frankie?
I got bitch tits from HCG as a PCT back in the day because when you were doing the testosterone, you would take certain things to would get rid of, so would prevent or help prevent gynecomastia and stuff. But
Right.
then when you stop everything and you run out and you can't get it, and then now you're taking PCT, you're on HCG. That's when I got the gyno, when I was taking
Yeah.
trying to bring my natural testosterone back
There's pretty
back in the
much
day.
in bodybuilding. There's pretty much no getting around bitch tits. You got to get them cut out. I mean, everybody gets them
It's
cut
like
out. It's just
it's like getting a concussion in football.
yeah,
exactly.
that should come in the manual, I guess, if you're going to sign up for your bodybuilding show.
But the thing about HCG is your brain is telling, if you're taking exogenous testosterone, your brain is telling your testicles not to produce it because there's too much. We don't need it. We've got plenty. Okay. So if you take HCG and you're thinking it's going to keep your natural testosterone going, it's not, because you're still getting the message that there's too much. So the HCG does nothing unless you stop. When you stop taking testosterone, then start taking HCG, that's when it gets your production back. And yes, you can get gyno from that.
You get gyno from smoking pot too, I heard, right?
Yeah, you can get gyno from eating estrogen-laden foods.
Jeez.
You can get the
Drinking
amount
milk.
of yes.
Wow.
Well, depending on where you get it from, but yes.
Yeah,
The amount of gyno that is prevalent today, especially in young guys, kids, is astronomical because there's so much estrogen in the food, water, and air, and even in the air. It's all over the place.
Great. So
I got a question for
can't
Zack.
hide it. I got a question for you, Frank. Really, first one shot asked, did Frank get his removed? So you said you got. Did you get the surgery too, or did you?
I did, yeah.
I know you did, but I didn't know.
So I was my second show coming off everything, probably about 314 I weighed, and as I got smaller and smaller, it didn't show anymore. So and when I stopped taking PEDs and stuff for a very long period of time, they kind of shrank. And then, interesting, it came back when I was getting divorced because my cortisol levels were so massive, my hormonal levels were nuts. And then it started popping. And now, since I started TRT again, it's disappeared because my hormone levels have kind of got back to normal. So, I don't know.
Some people are more susceptible to it. There's a gland, in there under your nipple, and they have a lot of. Some have more androgen receptors than others. It just depends on.
I can't even feel it now anymore. Yeah. I can't even feel it.
I can't.
Initially, I went for the mammography. It was hysterical because when I first felt it, and there's cancer in my family, so you go into the mammography. They give you a pink robe. Right, so
and you weighed 314.
I know. I was like 270, right? And
wait! Somebody animate that. I want to see Frankie at 315 pounds in a pink robe with those fuzzy pink slippers on.
Girl, and the woman there, she looked like Britney Spears, right? She's like, "Oh, how you doing?" And she's like, "She give the machine, and you pull your pec up, and you put it in the machine,
pushes it,
like." And she's like, "Oh no, it's not even. It's just she's like a little bit of fatty tissue or what have you." I'm like, "Oh, okay, great." I was like, but everybody used to go. There was a doctor. What was his name in Long Island?
Dr. Blau.
There you go. Yeah.
Wow.
Went to Dr. Blau.
So that was like the guy. That was the guy.
He's the expert. He does more. He has done more gyno surgeries in 1 month than all of the rest of the board certified plastic surgeons in New York have done in their entire careers put together.
Or Dr. Nadler, Dr. Liposuctionator, Dr. Nadler.
Yeah.
But he's dead.
Nadler.
You can't go to him.
Yeah.
Nadler made all of these cannulas, custom cannulas to suck the fat. He was able to suck the fat out of your shoulders, and the striations would come out by sucking the fat out from between the muscles.
He had a BMW Cabriolet, and he used to train at Bev's, and the license plate said "Go Nads"
Yep.
because his name is Bruce. Right?
Totally
Remember
true.
that?
Yep. Because he used to
He
train
used
at the
to,
Golds in Port, or where Bleckman lived. I used to see him there every morning when we used to go
nice
train.
guy. He was a really nice guy. He
Wonderful
used to
guy.
write for Met. He used to write our articles for Metrics magazine
Mhm.
too.
He shot his wife and himself. That was
What?
horrible
Yeah.
situation. You remember that?
Nadler?
Yeah.
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 What? Dude, I didn't
They
know
used
that.
to have
God.
commercials during the movies
Jesus.
where he was dressed as the liposuctionator. He was like a
Yeah.
muscular guy with a
God.
liposuction machine, but he's a tall guy. He was pretty decent shape and nice
Yeah.
guy. He was a really nice
The
guy. I know a lot of people that went to
liposuctionator?
him. Yeah.
Suctionator.
I
Yeah.
love this. This is amazing.
Well, everybody went in for lipo.
Yeah.
Wow.
You know that little bit of fat underneath your belly button that takes
Mhm.
18 weeks and everything
Yeah.
else. People
Sucks
used to
it
be
out in
like,
5
it
minutes.
never went away.
Suck
He
it out of
would
there.
just suck it right up.
Good grief.
I don't even know if they had anesthesia.
Oh.
Suck it out.
He'd shoot that in first. He'd shoot all that liquid in, what's it called? Temesculent solution, I think it's called. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I don't know about him, but I know there was a lot. I don't know about Nadler, but I know there's a lot of doctors that would cheap and they would target bodybuilders and they're like, oh, I can get rid of that around your belly button, no problem. No anesthesia, nothing, numbing cream. My friend got it. My training partner. He's like doubled over in pain, like because it's basically getting stabbed in the stomach.
Yep.
Is what it is,
Oh,
depending on how big it is.
It
See,
is.
Zach,
It's
you
exactly
missed
what
out.
it is.
Yeah,
You
I
missed
did.
out
You're
on a
right.
lot, Zach.
Yeah, I do. I feel like this. I have some just regrets. I missed out on getting my stomach
Oh, you
jammed with
missed
no
out on a
anesthesia.
lot.
I know.
What's the most disgusting thing you've seen happen to somebody at a gym?
I mean, okay. This is probably the one that sticks out the most because it was me. There was three of us in there, and this dude was trying to get the stack off of the the pulleys,
Yeah.
and I don't know what he did, but he pulled out a pin, and the stack went down on his hand, and he's screaming, and he's like, "Help! Help! Come get it off!" So put the pin in, and get it off, and just his hand, the claw that came out of there. I was just so like it just I don't know, that always stuck with me, man. It wasn't bloody, it was just his hand was mangled, and I'm like, you're gonna be fine, dude. I'm like, it's fine, and then he's turning around, and I'm just like, oh my god, this guy's gonna have no hand. I don't know what happened to him, but that was a rough one. That was bad.
What about you, John?
I didn't see it in person. I saw a video of it, but this girl died on the Smith machine doing a bench squat. Yeah, she was talking to this guy and definitely did not look like a seasoned lifter. She was kind of like a middle, 30-ish age woman that was kind of heavy set, and her daughter was there watching her train.
Oh.
And she gets on. There's a bench, and she's going to do squats in the Smith machine with the bench under it, like a box squat, right?
Yeah.
So there's freaking 4 plates on each side. There's 4 plates on each side, and she's sitting on the bench, and she gets on it, and she kind of leans forward to unrack it behind her neck. She comes straight down and hit her like a guillotine and fucking snapped her neck right on the bench, right in front of her daughter.
Man.
I've seen torn pecs. When people bench, basically turn black and blue on the spot. 2 torn quads on a Smith machine at the same time, the guy's legs. But the worst thing the most disgusting thing I've ever seen, it was probably 1995 or 6. I was in the gym training a client, and we're on the leg press, and we look over, and there's a guy, and he wears the same sweatpants every day for like 8 months. And John, the old sweatpants, they were thin to begin with, like the one with the stripes and American flag, and they wear out eventually, right? So
Yeah.
why is this happening? All right. So they wear out. They get really thin, whatever. So the guy is deadlifting, and he goes down, and his And as he comes up, I guess he popped a hemorrhoid in his ass or something, but the pants tore open and all you see is this like bloody ball sack hanging out, right? Like you couldn't, like from the back, the guy had red hair and freckles.
Oh my
And it was
God.
like, that thing that they do for Thanksgiving, that meme that goes around where the guy's nuts are hanging in the top of the turkey, and that's his neck. So this guy's nuts hanging, but it's all blood covered from the hemorrhoid or whatever. But
that's
I was like,
disgusting.
oh my God, man.
Yeah,
It
you
was the
can't
most
unsee that.
disgusting thing I've ever seen in my life. I was like, oh.
Yeah,
But
you
I
can't
knocked,
unsee
I
that.
knocked,
No, you're not going to go help him out either. Like, you need a hand.
no,
Like,
no,
What are you
no.
gonna do? Give him a wet rag? I mean,
no,
what
I'd
are you
run.
gonna do for
I
him?
would be out of there. You wouldn't even see me. I would be gone. He's on his own.
Give him a shirt to tie around his waist. But I was like,
God, what do you even do for that? I mean, do you go to the emergency room and say, "Put my asshole back together"? I mean, what do you do?
That's probably a good
well,
start. I mean, bring a
forget it.
sewing
The
kit.
main thing here is who goes to the gym and doesn't wear underwear?
Yeah, that too.
Like who goes to the gym and does deadlifts without any underwear on?
Oh,
Oof.
That's the main like question. And
oh.
it was funny. Those sweatpants, Zach, they were hysterical, man.
They were the
Like
cheapest thing that you could buy anywhere. They were like you bought four of them for $5, right? They were the gray and the with the ankles, the little elastic around the ankles, right?
no, you tuck them into the big socks with the atomic sneakers.
Like the scrunch socks over it. Remember the scrunch socks, the leg warmer socks?
Yeah.
So if you had a high insertion on your calf, those were perfect. The atomics, then the sock, then the calf. It's like the staggered calf. So all the bodybuilders at Gold's Gym Venice, like who didn't have calves, they had the sock,
Yep.
the sneaker, the sock, and the sock was about 4 inches high. Or you can make it even 6. It's dependent on how big your calves were. It's true.
It's true.
Yeah, man.
And
John
don't forget
Mancini
the fanny
Fitness
pack.
says the most disgusting thing he's seen in the gym is when girls pee doing deadlifts. I didn't even know that was a thing.
I didn't know that.
That would turn me on. What are you talking about? That's not disgusting.
John likes water sports. What can we say? I mean,
Nice
listen, everybody's got
water
their own
sport.
thing. Everybody's
Zach,
into their own thing.
Are we rock climbing? Are we gonna? Are we
think
doing
we
the
should.
vision quest with the pegs?
I don't know. I don't. Are you able to because of your biceps?
Torn bicep?
Yeah.
Well, here's what's gonna happen. I'm gonna go down there in a t-shirt, and they're gonna be, oh, big guy,
Yeah.
you can't get up there, this and that. So
Yep,
I don't know.
yep.
I maybe, and then I'm like, oh, I have a torn bicep, and it's not gonna matter because if I only get halfway up, and Rick the Rick whatever his name is Rick the rock climber gets up there, and I'm not gonna do it, but maybe I'll what do you call it? I'll sweeten the pot or something. I'll put a 100-pound pack on my back or something.
There you go.
I don't know. I'll try it.
Yeah, you'll show him.
I'm gonna try it. I'll definitely try it. If I'm not gonna be, peer pressure. You know me. What did I say to that guy at Hydrox? I'm like, shut up.
Yeah, he doesn't care. Like listen, I'm the same. If I was injured, I mean, I've been wanting to go to a rock climbing gym for a while, so it actually was perfect that it came up. And we've been looking to do more things and run around anyway. So it's cool. And John's been talking about it, and it looks like a really fun workout. But yeah, I mean, I'm game, dude. I want to do it.
Maybe I'll do it in a thong.
Yeah, see, now we're talking about sweetening the pot. See, now.
Do they have a bunny hill? Like a bunny hill or something?
And maybe when you sneeze, you could pee a little, and we could.
Yeah. And
do they have the mole hill? Then the mountain?
Exactly.
Like, is there anything in between?
Actually, Gold's Gym in Venice for a while had a tread wall. It was like it was like a climbing wall that was on a belt.
Yeah, I've seen those.
That was my all-time favorite workout because you could adjust the steepness of the angle. You could actually cant it back past 90 degrees, so you were climbing, on an overhang. I loved that thing. I don't know why they got rid of that. That was the best workout ever. I loved it.
I haven't.
And I'd love to find a place that has one.
Yeah, I haven't done the peg wall since my training partner Loudon Swain was trying to make the 168 to fight shoot in the wrestling. A little vision quest there, people.
I want
But
to
no,
try that. I want to try the Jacob's Ladder though. I want to do that. I mean, those are freaking expensive. I looked into buying one, and even the used ones were ridiculously.
doesn't Bev's have one? Doesn't Bev's have one? I used to have one. I do.
Think so. I thought I've seen it there. I definitely saw it at the UFC gym in North Brunswick that we
Well, that's
go
right.
to. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's definitely there.
You know what I do with the cardio areas in the gym? I walk right by
Walk
them.
where you skip them. Yeah, exactly. Me too. I mean,
I walk right by the cardio areas. I do my cardio outside, man. I love it. And now
too.
it's like, raining and whatever. I love the doing cardio in the rain or whatever it may be too. So
I'm gonna go do I'm doing some training outside today because I got to decide if I'm gonna do this winter death race, and I want to start to get myself
Where is it?
acclimated. It's in same place. It's in Pittsfield.
oh, we're going. You're doing it.
It's in Vermont,
Yeah.
late January, and
Yeah,
I mean,
you're
look,
going.
yeah, but
Yeah,
listen,
you're in.
the reason I don't want to go is because I'm afraid, but that's also the reason I think I should go. Because I don't want to go. Yeah, because I don't want to do it, and I think it's.
I'm
important.
afraid. Isn't that the Rocky thing? What's the matter? What's the truth, damn it? I'm
Yeah.
afraid. All right?
Yeah.
I'm afraid.
Or was that Karate Kid?
No, that was Rocky on the beach
yeah.
after.
Oh
But
yeah,
listen, can you let John and I break down each event for you and give you, because while we were talking about it, we were giving you tips on how to survive, and you were trying to do it the straight and narrow, because we were not talking about cheat, but the gray area of possibly getting around some of these events.
I think you're
is
getting a
probably
good point.
extremely important. But no, I think that'll be awesome if we do that. If you do that, and this time, we'll bring some people down and and shoot it and make sure it's done right. But I think you should do it.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, here's the thing. I definitely want to do it in a way. I don't in another way, but I do think it would be really interesting content. And I think it would be good to show that side of people, especially because it's going to be a whole different crowd. And there are going to be some folks that were at this one that will be there. And, I'm like, but I'm also like, why not? If I have a chance to experience this, why wouldn't I try it? Even if I'm going to freeze and get frostbite and be miserable for an extended period of time.
Or die.
Yeah, well, that's yeah. Forgot
What
about
is
that.
what can you take that's gonna heat the body up? DNP?
Oh yeah. John almost burned his hands off. So yeah.
It sucks your energy out, but that would be great.
Oh well, we can't have that.
Yeah.
But is there anything that he can take that's gonna, that's gonna heat up his body eternally? That's not gonna hurt him?
Capsaicin.
Oh
The,
God,
from the peppers?
oh God, no.
No way. I'll be blowing fire out of my ass. Right.
You'll be melting the snow with every footstep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now you know why every old man that has arthritis is angry. When they put that on, because they're fucking burning to death on that stuff. I put that stuff on my shoulder, and I was like, "Whoa, man!" It was like setting your shoulder on fire.
Oh
like, wow.
man. That's a lot of stimulant-free thermogenics use capsaicin for the thermogenic effect, but I've never taken it by itself though. That's probably interesting.
What about a green pepper?
That's where they get capsaicin from, right?
Yeah, I'm saying, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh. I'll douse you with sriracha and hot sauce. and then
I like where this is headed. I like this. And now, talk about sweetening the pot.
Stick with John and I. We'll get you through this.
You guys.
We'll get you through it.
All right. Well, listen, we've gone on for 1 hour and 15. This was fun. I have to pee really bad. That's why I'm kind of at this point. Yeah, that went fast. Because when we had a lot to talk about. Frank was outside doing things and running around and having a life. So that's always interesting when we get to hear people doing cool stuff.
So our next guest, he reached out to me. I'll set it up for Tuesday. Is Martin Fitzwater.
Oh, nice.
Cool.
Very cool.
Awesome.
Yeah,
that was great.
One. So I'll confirm with Martin for Tuesday at 10.
Cool, man. Awesome. Look, thanks everybody. Thanks for all the comments. We had a bunch of good ones, and tell your friends about this, send it, like it, or do whatever the algorithm gods will do to
Help
help
us out,
out.
guys.
Yeah.
We want to grow.
Yeah, we
Wanna
also
go?
have a Caps No Caps channel. We have a whopping 54 people that are subscribed to it. So
Wow.
thank you to those 54.
Yep.
I know, right? I know. It's actually more than my personal channel. So I'm like, wow, you know what? At least we're succeeding there.
On the
3
right
months
way.
ago, we had 50.
I know. Now we're at 54.
What did they do? Stop us? Would they stop organic searches of everything?
I know. It's because I gotta I was talking to John about this. It's like I just get I try to keep up with it for muscle, and I try to put the timestamps in there and put thumbnails and all this stuff, and then I forget about our page, and it's like, bah. So we'll get there, but I don't know. Anyway, yeah. So see you Thursday or see.